How's it going? My name's Matthew Post, and this is my video pitch. Now, if that confuses you, it's basically just me trying to get you into the world in which this pitch resides in. If you don't care, or if you just want to go ahead and go into the pitch, that is just plain simple text, it'll be in the time code here. Otherwise, stick around. The moonlight casts over a cabin in the forest. In the distance, a neon city is seen several miles away. Within the cabin is retired mob boss Roman Delos. He's all drugged up and is about to sniff one more line of coke, but then the lights go out within the cabin. A bright light shines from outside the cabin into it. His eyes are blinded. He covers his face. He eventually makes his way to the window and is able to see two figures standing next to a car. A very old car. He's unable to make out what the two figures are at first, but then he focuses. His eyes grow wide with fear and realization. He runs back into his dining room, scared out of his mind. As he does that, he picks up the cell phone from the table. Cut to a cocktail hour for a wedding. We focus on a small, bald man, around, I would say, age 40. Everyone seems to be having a good time, except for him. He wears a look of grit and anger. As he's sitting at a table by himself, his cell phone starts to ring. He eventually is able to fish it out of his pocket. He reads the caller ID. He seems to be surprised, but also upset. He storms his way into the public men's room. Oswald looks around to see if the restroom is empty. It is. He picks up the phone. Don Ramos? Oswald. Yeah, this is him. What do you want? I need you to do me a favor. I'm not in that line of work anymore. No. I'm not asking you to fucking kill someone. What Don Ramos asks Oswald to do is to describe how he killed two very specific men. I need you to tell me how you killed Ed Stone Eyes and Tom Slickfingers in detail. Is there a reason for this? I'm having hallucinations. I swear to God, those two are trying to kill me right now. That's impossible. Oswald doesn't like the idea, but after Ramos says he'll pay him a couple grand, he goes ahead and starts to tell him the story about how he tortured and killed these two men. 2 decades ago, Tom Slickfingers and Ed Stone Eyes were a team. Tom would be the looks and the skill, and Ed would be the muscle. The two men started basically a crime organization together. They were rising to the top, and fast. Ramos found it in his best interest if those two did not exist anymore. When he got Oswald to kill them, they left behind families, territory, and a lot of money. When Oswald killed Tom, he had nailed both of his hands into a wooden chair and nailed his feet into the concrete floor. He did that to set an example because that is what Tom Slickfingers was known for. He was known for being very, very slick when it came to cards. He would always do this, specifically with his left hand, whenever he won something, pointing at the person he just defeated. So after a grueling hour of torture, he had finally killed Tom by putting a bullet through his head. Ed Stone Eye's punishment lasted longer, I'm afraid. He was beaten to death with a sledgehammer. Now you may be saying for a normal person that would not take that long, but for Ed, it took 4 hours. His jaw fell off before he died. As Oswald is telling this to Ramos in the grittiest detail, Ramos is running through the cabin from room to room. There are scratching noises outside the cabin walls. Bangs are heard throughout the entire area. Ramos is terrified. Ramos runs into the last room to hide in. As Oswald finishes telling Ramos the story about how he killed them with intense detail, Ramos starts to feel relieved. Then what did you do with their bodies? I buried them along the outskirts of the city. Fucking relax. 2 unidentified characters step in front of the door, which is for the room that Ramos is hiding in. After telling you all of the details, after telling you all the specifics, you still have trouble believing I did this? The door into the room opens up. Ramos turns to it with a look of confusion and fear. No. I believe every word. One of the unknown characters lifts up his hand and points a gun at Ramos' direction. The hand is decomposed, old, dead flesh, holding onto bone. The gun shakes, as there are only 3 fingers holding it. Bang! Ramos' head explodes as a bullet goes through it. His body falls to the ground. It was Tom Slickfingers who held the gun. Standing next to him is Ed Stone Eyes. But these men aren't alive. They are literally corpses. Their clothing covered with dirt and blood. Ed Stone Eyes walks towards Ramos' cell phone. He picks it up. Ramos! Ramos, what the fuck is going on? Ed doesn't say anything. Ed just breathes heavily into the phone. Oswald's eyes grew large. He shook his head in disbelief. He was now terrified as well. Tom and Ed sat on the car's hood. They stared at the neon city. a river separated them. Tom stares at the city. He turns to Ed and says, "Looks different." Ed replies. Ed then looks back at the city for a few moments. "I have no idea." Tom gets up off the hood and he looks at the city and points. But maybe someone there does. Both dead gangsters get into the car and punch it at high speed towards a bridge that is connected to the city. These men are looking for answers, their family, everything they left behind. Well, if you stuck around, thank you for listening. After me saying this right now, there's going to be a text displaying the, I guess, pretty much the pitch just typed out. Thank you for considering. Have a nice day.